we will link together as one force, continuing to serve always. This is the Brotherhood Academy Radio Podcast.
Volunteer firefighters, Academy, fight for a dying breed. Brotherhood Academy Radio.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Brotherhood Academy Radio Podcast. These episodes are now brought to you by Chief Miller. If you haven't checked Chief Miller out, he's all over social media. You can find him on Instagram at Chief_Miller_. On Facebook, Chief Miller1. Also on Twitter, YouTube, and Snapchat. He's all over the place. And he's got a website, chiefmillerapparel.com, where you can find a whole assortment of really cool stuff to buy. Coffee mugs, shirts, jackets, hats, all awesome stuff. So thank you, Chief Miller, for sponsoring the podcast. Be sure to check him out and give him a follow. So, I'm coming to you. Today is March 3rd. 2 days ago, on March 1st, in the middle of the day, the town of Berwick, Maine, lost a member in a fire. It came in with a smell of smoke in a multifamily wood frame apartment house. They got on scene. Their first engine was staffed by a small assortment of members, led by Captain Joel Barnes. When they got there, they got reports of people trapped in the building. This is a 6-unit wood frame apartment building. They immediately struck a first alarm working fire, and they went in with a handline to conduct a search. Mutual aid companies were dispatched and en route and on scene in a fairly short amount of time. Lines went into operation and a search was underway inside. One victim was pulled from a window with a ground ladder, and Captain Joel Barnes and his partner somehow became trapped and lost on the 3rd floor, and a mayday was called. Right then and there, another alarm and then another alarm were requested. Mutual aid from all over was on the way. Joel was in there with his partner. His partner was able to get out of the 3rd floor to a back porch, where he was eventually assisted down by fellow firefighters. Joel Barnes, however, was not able to get out. He was pulled out by other members and brought down and transported to the hospital in Dover, New Hampshire, where he was pronounced dead. Now, this is day 2. It happened 2 days ago on the 1st. It is the 3rd. So much has happened. So much investigation has happened. And there's so many questions that need to be answered still. But it's amazing that the support system that we have has come in full force. Now, the town of Berwick, Maine is a 20-minute ride from where I'm at. They're just west of South Berwick, which is just west of York. Now, remember, Lieutenant Nick Hamill, who is the newest member of our team of Brotherhood Academy Radio, is a lieutenant with the South Berwick Fire Department. We had him as a guest a few episodes ago. He was there. He assisted when the first member who was trapped was able to get out. He assisted him getting his gear off and getting him onto a stretcher to be transported and evaluated. The South Berwick and the Berwick Fire Departments work extremely close together. They run on a lot of joint responses. The members are tight. Captain Barnes, who lost his life that day, was also a member of the York Ambulance Association as a paramedic on a per diem basis. So he has been on a few calls that I have been on. We've been to meetings together. Did not know the guy personally, but I could tell you right now he had a calm demeanor, he was quiet, he was squared away, and he was a damn good paramedic. Now, there's stories circulating around, and it's pretty much been confirmed that Captain Barnes was on top of Mitch, who was his partner, inside that building when the Mayday was called, and they could not get out of the room that they were in. Mitch was able to get out on his own. He was transported, and I'm told that he actually went back to the fire scene that same day. So Captain Barnes died a hero. All the departments in the area have been stepping up and covering the town of Berwick with a crew, doing 8-hour shifts around the clock. Today, Captain Barnes was transported from a funeral home in Dover, New Hampshire, up to Old Orchard Beach, Maine, where his family resides. So a procession was done, and a whole bunch of us met at the Berwick Fire Station with our apparatus in our turnout gear, lined the street as the procession came through. They stopped for a short while at the fire station. We had a small little service, and they continued on. The support is unbelievable. The people that are coming together is just amazing. We're seeing people that we haven't seen in years. We're seeing people that have been the strongest people that we've known in the fire service with blank looks on their face and breaking down and at a complete loss, extremely overwhelmed and not sure what they need to be doing next. But the teams and the crews that are coming together to lend a hand, to support them, is unimaginable. The Seacoast, Maine, and New Hampshire Fire Service community is unlike any other, in my mind, in my eyes. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way I see it is when shit goes down, we're there. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what town. It doesn't matter what happened. But we're all there to support each other. Now, plans are being made for the services. Most likely they're going to be at the end of this week. It has not been confirmed yet, but I can imagine it's going to be an unbelievable showing of support from members from all over the United States. So, what can we do moving forward? What can we do to remember this and to use this situation as something to be learned from? There's many things we can do. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is tactics and what could we do better? What could we do to prevent this from ever happening again? The other thing we can do moving forward is to realize how strong of a fire service that we have and how strong of a brotherhood we have, and to never ever take advantage of that and to never ever forget about it. Let's never forget what we have. Let's never forget our families. Let's never forget the bonds that we've forged and the connections that we've made and the networking that we've done and the training that we can do together and the firefighting that we can do in an unstoppable team that cannot be compared to any other line of work. We stopped by the apartment building today after the procession went through, and we stood there and we looked at it. And there was a man smoking a cigarette standing next to me. He was wearing a hooded sweatshirt with a tattered jacket, dirty blue jeans. And he came up to me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "I'm sorry for your loss." He said, "This was a terrible thing, and I'm truly sorry, and I don't know what to say." And I said, "I appreciate that. Thank you." And then he looked at me and he looked at the house and he said, "My apartment was on the second floor." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, sir. I'm so sorry that you lost your home. I don't know how you're dealing with it. I can't even imagine." He told me that he lost a cat, and then his other cat ran off during the fire, and his wife was out looking for it. She had been looking for it since the fire, and she was still looking for it today. But his biggest concern was for us. The man lost his home. He lost everything he had, along with 5 other families. But his biggest concern was for the firefighters. So let's not ever forget about our community and the members of our communities that we protect and that we serve. Because when tragedy strikes, they are there for us. What can we all do to prevent this from happening again? I don't know if there's an answer, but I'll tell you what, when it strikes close to home, holy shit, is it different? Is it surreal? Is it unbelievably insane? I don't even know if I have a word for it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Keep your members tight and close to you. If you have tiffs, if you have drama, if you have things going on in your fire department that aren't so great and the morale is down, do your best as leaders and as firefighters and as members of your organization to change that, to fix that, and to keep the bond and the brotherhood as strong as it possibly can be. Because things can change in a matter of seconds. I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll talk to you the next time. Friends, please join the movement by sharing this podcast and sharing our social media accounts and visiting us at brotherhoodacademyradio.com.
Brotherhood Academy Radio podcast is brought to you by Salty Hook Media.